Good morning, everyone. We are the next group. We are going to discuss the continuation of Group 1. So our topics tackles about policing system during the Spanish period, Carabineros Seguridad Público, Guardiilleros, Guardia Civil during the Japanese occupation, Kempeitai, other Japanese police system during American occupation, Insular Police Force, Insular Constabulary, Manila Police Department, other police system, notable persons in the history of policing system in the Philippines. So, the first reporter will be me, Manloco Tricia May. So just sit back, relax, and listen to our discussion. Hope that all of you will understand and gain more knowledge. So, policing system. When we hear the word police, we all know they are responsible for maintaining public order and safety, enforcing the law, and preventing, detecting, and investigating criminal activities. These functions are known as policing. So, policing system during the Spanish period. The Spanish colonial period government introduced a formal prison and policing system to the Philippines in the 19th century. Prior to Spanish arrival, communities established their own laws, and local chieftains resolved disputes and set penalties for violators. So the best policing system in the Philippines was the Spanish colonial period. The first organized bodies of police in the Philippines date back to the Spanish colonial period, the Royal Decree in 1852 establishing the first organized bodies of police along the militarized lines of the Spanish Guardia Civil. So there are forces during the Spanish era, which is the Carabineros de Seguridad Público, then the second one is Guardiilleros, and lastly, the Guardia Civil. So the first one will be Carabineros Seguridad Público, initially designed to implement regulations of the Department of State, then later expanded its functions to ports, harbors, and river policing. So, this is the earlier version of mounted riflemen. So, the first version of police that have long rifles, so sa ato apa is katong mga tag-as og mga armas. That's why they were called mounted riflemen. So, the word mounted means riding on a horse or other animals. So, gihimo nila ang mga animals as vehicles for transportation. So, Cuerpo de Carabineros de Seguridad Pública, in English, carbine, security of the public. Carbine means long arm. Then, long arm, so sa ato apat katong mga tag-as nga pusil na gigamit para sa seguridad ng publiko. So there are functions of Carabineros de Seguridad Pública. So number 1, ordering of peace and internal security. So we all know that the police mandates to make peace in our country. So the second one is prosecution of law violators and malefactors. So, they are the one who officially accuse someone who commits a crime, or sila ang accuse someone who commits a crime. So, the third one is implementation of law and ordinance. So, they are the one who implements or modification sa law and ordinance of the country. So, the fourth and the last is the watching and guarding the entry of contraband into the country through different ports and sea coast. So sila ang mobantay sa mga pantalan para sa tanang possible nga mosulod na kontrabando. So the next one will be Guardiilleros. So they are the rural police of each town. 5% of the male inhabitants must serve as policemen for 3 years. So, body of rural police. So in every barangay or city, they are called the local police force. So they are the one who are in charge in that said town or city. So the 5% of all men nga naay strength og diha gapuyo sa said province nila. So sila ang himon or gitawag na guardilleros. So example, naay 100 ka buklaki sa usa ka barangay nga naay strength na motrabaho like a police sa ilang lugar. So 100 ka buok, so 5% ray himong miyembro sa guardilleros. So 5% of 100 is 5. So sila ray mahimong miyembro sa guardilleros. So an example na po ni siya ako. So it depends sa kadaghanon sa popularity sa inyong barangay. So if ever daghan ang inyong population, so daghan sad pod ang mahimong miyembro sa guardilleros. So 80 officers usually police each province in Luzon, and more numbers of personnel were enlisted and deployed in Visayas and Mindanao. So it depends on the availability of manpower, proximity of dangers, and probability of the attackers of the Moro pirates. So kadalasan 80 ka buok yun ang members ang guardilleros, so in every city or province in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So depending sa available nga tawo, then kanang distance nila sa danger or kanang possible or probability nga naay mo atake nga Moro pirates. So, kay we all know, sa sinaunang panahon, daghang pirates, kay diba, ang Philippines is an archipelago. So, also known as area that contains a chain or group of islands scattered in lakes, river, or the ocean. So, the Philippines is isla na gipalibutan ng mga karagatan. So, the functions of guardilleros is, number 1, enforce all laws. Sila ang tagapagtupad ng batas. The next one will be maintain public order. So sila ang maintain para peaceful ang lugar. Then third one is patrol. Sila ang mo patrol or moronda sa ilang area, which is sila ang responsible. Then last one will be guard government building. They are the ones responsible na mobantay sa government building. Guardia Civil, decreed by the Spanish crown to relieve the Spanish peninsular troops. So this semi-military police institution was armed as the Spanish infantry, characterized by its very bright and showy uniform and distinctively prominent insignia. So, mura silang military police na serves as army sa mga Kastila in every town or city. So, they are once noticed in their uniforms. Kay, as, kanang sa tanang mga guards sa una, so sila ang pinakatsadag uniform and kanang daling makita. So, makabantay ta nila sa example sa Luneta, sa Intramuros ka nanggabantay sa atong national heritage. So dito nato makita ang uniform sa like Guardia Civil. So sila ang tigbantay and responsible in every city. So this gave the Spanish colonial government a tremendous power to control, supervise, and centralize police administration, hence enabling the supreme head to decide and dictate the rules and guidelines to be pursued in ensuring public safety. So we all know Guardia Civil is organized in every city and barangay. It gives more power in Spanish colonial government, which is sa gobyerno ng Castilla. So here in the Philippines, to have control, supervision, and centralized police administration para ipatupad ang tanang ganahan or balak sa supreme head or pinakapinuno sa public safety. So that's all for my topic. Thank you for listening. So this is Trisha May Manlocat, and the next reporter will be Abetong Christine Jeanette, who will discuss about during the Japanese occupation.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Abetong Christine Janet B., and my report is all about during the Japanese occupation. During the Japanese occupation of the Philippines occurred between 1942 and 1945, when Imperial Japan occupied the Commonwealth of the Philippines during World War II. So before nila nasakop ang Pilipinas, the Allied powers or allies kay na-defeat sa World War II. That's why the Imperial Japan occupied the Commonwealth of the Philippines. Then one of an Allied commander during Japanese occupation is General Douglas MacArthur, like siya may silbing kaalyado sa mga Hapones. Japanese soldiers and civilians from abroad were repatriated to Japan. Arms industries were dismantled, and political prisoners were released. The word repatriated like ipapauli nila ang mga Japanese soldiers and ang mga civilians sa Japan. Ang dismantled is ilang gi-remove or gi-take off ang mga armas then ang mga political na napriso kay ilang gi-release. Japan occupied the Philippines for over 3 years until sa pagsuko sa Japan. Next slide please. Kempeitai. The Kempeitai, translated as Military Police Corps, served as the military police of the Japanese Army from 1881 to 1945. It draws parallels with Nazi Germany's Gestapo in that it was a secret police force rather than overt operation. Overt operation is like an operation conducted openly without concealment. Kempeitai was responsible for ensuring military discipline. Kempeitai, also known as Kenpeitai, like sila ang mga military police corps sa Japan. Like sila pud ang mga responsible in military discipline, maintaining law and order, and policing thoughts in the civilians population of Japanese occupied territories. Ilang task sa mga Kempeitai was to crush all the resistance to Japan. Military rule with sa ilang power na mo-arrest o mukuha og mga information gikan sa civilian as well as sa mga military personnel. Then this military police corps or Kempeitai kay mopatay sila sa ilang mga nabantayan na mga anti-Japanese. Other Japanese police system. There are two types of law enforcement officials in Japan. Depending on the underlying provision, police officers of Prefectural Police Department or prescribed as judicial police officials under Article 189 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, KG Sushuhu, and special judicial police officials. These two law enforcement in Japan was to ensure the democratic administration and political neutrality of the police under the administrative supervision by the Commission. The duty of these two law enforcement kay authority nila to carry out police duties to protect life, to maintain public safety and order. That's all my report, ma'am, and the next reporter will be Laranio Darwin.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, buddies. My name is Darwin Villaranyo, and I will discuss to you about during American occupation. The United States government formally acquired the Philippines from Spain with the signing of Treaty of Paris on December 10, 1898. In this time, ang US o ang Spain na sila'y agreement or kasunduan na gitawag nila o signing of Treaty of Paris, other known for Treaty of Peace, nagasulti na ang Spain they formally giving up the right na mo govern sa Philippines kay ang US naman po mo govern sa Philippines aning time. The US government declare military rules in the Philippines on December 21, 1898. Munang, in this time, ang US na, ni-declare na sila og military rules sa Philippines. Kaya sila naman po yung govern nato. The period of American colonialization of the Philippines was 48 years. Ang gi-colonialize kuno tas Amerikano for 48 years. It began with the cession of the Philippines to the US by Spain in 1898 and lasted until US recognition of the Philippines independence in 1946. In the year 1946, gi-recognize na sa US na ang Philippines may mo na siya fully independence na country. Next slide, Insular Police Force in November 30, 1898. It was established during the Filipino-American War in 1898 to 1901. Ang Insular Police Force kuno established siya during the Filipino-American War upon the Philippines Commission to the Secretary of War. The first Insular Police Force in the Philippines, the PNP or Philippine National Police, but it was originated from the Philippines Constabulary or PC, which was inaugurated on August 8, 1901, establishing it as an insular police force under the American regime. Kana kunong Philippines Constabulary or PNP is under na siya sa American regime. Kanang insular police force na under siya sa American regime. During the American regime, in 1898 to 1941, the Filipino revolutionaries won against the Spaniards who colonialized us for more than 300 years. And in this time, ang mga Pinoy kuno is na-won or natagumpayan nila against the Spaniard colonizer. Our flag was hoisted on June 12, 1898 as a symbol of our independence. Ang ato ng flag kay gi-raise, gipasaka as a symbol of our independence in June 12, 1898. Who led the first insular police force in the Philippines is Rafael Crame or Brigadier General of the Philippines Constabulary. Rafael Crame was the first Filipino to lead the constabulary officer who served as chief of the former Philippines Constabulary from 1917 until his death in 1927. Si Rafael Crame kuno may na first na nilid as a Philippines Constabulary. That's why naay organization na gitawag og Camp Crame. Dagkan kabalo man yung taon sala ng Camp Crame sa dagkan niya nakabalo na. Other known na siya as National Headquarters of the Philippine National Police or Camp Crame. Nganong sa kadaghang nahimog Brigadier General, nganong ka Rafael Crame, iya mo yung apelido may butang anang Camp Crame. Tungod sa iyang mga contribution or iyang mga nabuhat sa iyang time na Brigadier General pa siya. Tungod sa numerous victory or daghan kay siyang napagtagumpayang mga laban against sa mga rebelde o mga sindikato sa iyang time. Munang ako ko siya contribution sa Philippine National Police or the Insular Police Force in the Philippines. That's all my discussion. The next reporter will be John Louis Mundo.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. I am Mundo John Louis M. And my topic is all about the Insular Constabulary, the Manila Police Department, and other police system. So, shall I start? So, the first, Insular Constabulary. So, the Insular Constabulary, or later called Philippine Constabulary, composed of the Filipino police, was organized to uphold order throughout the Philippines, especially when the American soldier left after the Philippine-American War. So, Canadian Insular Constabulary, so they are established by the American colonial government. So, it's the peacekeeper of the Philippines, and it was formed on August 18, 1901. So, by the American colonial government. So, Insular Constabulary was a gendarmerie type of police force. So, meaning, they are strict, so you should follow the rules and orders. In 1991, the Philippine Constabulary was demobilized. So, na-demobilize sila or what other term of demobilize? Disband. So, they are demobilized or disband. So, meaning na bungkag or na hunong. So, in 1991, during this year, the PNP or the Philippine National Police was formed. So, pagwala sa Philippine Constabulary, the PNP was established. So, nipuli dahil manang giilisa na og Philippine National Police rather abot karon. So, during the recent time, the PNP na nga lang dili ng Philippine Constabulary. The PC or the Philippine Constabulary is the first branch of the four armed forces in the Philippines. So, naman tayo former there are three. So, the Philippine Army, Philippine Navy, and Philippine Air Force. So wala pa na natukod na the Philippine Constabulary was the first established. So, siya mo yung nauna compared the other armed forces in the Philippines. So, the purpose of the Philippine Constabulary is to maintain the peace and order. Okay? Sa unang panahon manggod, dagan kayo musupak sa mga balaod sa mga American colonial government kasi sila mo gadala. So, na may mga nationalist, mga Philippine nationalista ba, na mo kontra dyan. Kaya ganahan sila nga, di sila ganahan dinalaan sa American government. So, that's why musupak sila sa balaod sa mga Americans. So, gitukod ning Philippine Constabulary to maintain peace and order para na makapugong sa mga buhaton sa mga nationalista. So, the next slide please. So, Manila Police Department. So, the Metropolitan Police Force of Manila was renamed into the Manila Police District. It was initially composed by 357 troops from the American Volunteer Force, the Philippines. So, on July 31, 1901, the force was reorganized and it was headed by Captain George Curry. So, si Captain George Curry ang nag-head para na-reorganize siya na may tabo. So, after ma-organize ni Captain George Curry, the Manila Police Department is the agency of the Philippine National Police or the PNP and is responsible for law enforcement in the city of Manila nowadays. So, until now, after sa pag-organize ni Captain George Curry until now, mura sa Japon. Sila na ang agency of the Philippine National Police in Manila. The other police system. So, the Philippine National Police or PNP originated from the Philippine Constabulary or the PC, which was inaugurated in August 8, 1901, establishing it as an insular police force under the American regime. So, dagang kayong there are major types of police system and there are many types of police system in the Philippines. So, I will give an example. Kitagda na kayo. So, the example is the federal system. So, consisting of Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice, so including the FBI, the Drug Enforcement, the Enforcement of Administration, the Secret Service, or the Postal Inspection Service, and many others. So, here are the example of the other police system in the Philippines. That's all. So, may I request the next reporter, please?
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning to my co-reporters. I am Chrislyn P. Cataylo, and I am going to report about the notable person in the history of policing system in the Philippines. So these are the important Filipino personalities in the evolution of Philippine policing. So the first one, we have Brigadier General Rafael de Crame. the first Filipino chief of the Philippine Constabulary in 1917. So he was the first Filipino chief of police in the Philippines, which at that time was called Philippine Constabulary. So Philippine Constabulary in Tagalog is Hukbong Pampayapa ng Pilipinas. So mauni siya mo'y PNP before from 1901 to 1991. And General Rafael Crame was also the grandson of the former Governor General of the Philippines, Sir Joaquin Rafael de Crame, who ruled the country in 1835. So, the second one, we have Colonel Antonio Torres, the first Filipino Chief of Police of the Manila Police Department on March 2, 1936. So, atong March 2, 1936, si Sir Antonio Torres, then before a member of the Manila City Council, was appointed chief, the first Filipino to do so. So, he was born on September 1, 1885, and he was also the founder and first supreme commander of the Order of the Knights of Rizal. So, ang Order of the Knights of Rizal, mao ni sila ang nag-study sa mga teachings ni Dr. Jose Rizal, nag-inculcate and propagate among all classes sa Filipino people para ma-exhort atong citizenry by words and deeds, and to emulate and practice the examples and teachings of our national heroes. So, siya mo'y founder and first supreme commander, ana. And the next one, we have Colonel Lamberto Javalera or Javalera, the first chief of police of the Manila Police Department after the Philippine independence from the United States of America on July 4, 1946. So he was appointed by President Manuel Rojas. So matingala mo nga nung Independence Day unya July 4, 1946. So kani siya na independence from the United States of America. This was the aftermath of the World War II. So, nahimo po ni siyang independence, as well as the June 12, 1898 na independence na ato nakasanayan kay mo'y atong gi-celebrate, no? So, duha ang independence sa Philippines. And the last one, we have Director General Cesar Nazareno, the first chief of the Philippine National Police or the PNP. So, he was born on December 5, 1940, and sadly namatay siya atong October 30, 2006 at the age of 65. So, he was buried in libingan ng mga bayani sa Taguig City, Metro Manila, Philippines. So, the chief of the Philippine National Police or PNP is the head of the Philippine National Police body, the Philippine National Police. So, the position is invariably held by a police general, a 4-star general police officer. The PNP chief is also an ex officio member of the National Police Commission as a commissioner. So, mauna siya may role ni Director General Cesar Nazareno as a chief of the Philippine National Police. So, all in all, the establishment of the police was not entirely intended for crime prevention nor peacekeeping. Rather, it was created as an extension of the colonial military establishment. Kay kabalo man ta na before, back then, usog yun ang gera, and na-establish ning police para mahimo siya extension sa mga militar. Wala siya intention na maghimo ta ning police para mag-prevent sa crime, para peacekeeping, na later on na siya as years goes by, na adapt and apply na nila na pwede ay ning police sa peacekeeping, pwede ay ning police for crime prevention. And that's all. Thank you so much for listening. God bless.